I grew up in a conservative household, and I was born and raised Catholic, which meant that I was around a lot of people who were right-leaning politically when I was younger. And one of these people that I knew became one of my very good friends, who, for privacy's sake, I'll name Adam. Last year, during the COVID-19 pandemic, right after the tragic death of George Floyd, Adam had made a social media post regarding the Black Lives Matter movement, but not many people liked what he had to say. Thus, he received lots of hate for it. His Instagram account received hundreds of hate comments, the content of which were incredibly vulgar. He received many accounts of verbal slander both to his face and behind his back. People had called him things like a racist, homophobic, and misogynistic bigot. The thing is, I knew Adam, and I thought he was none of those things. Was I wrong? In my speech today, I'll be discussing with you the issues and dangers of the two-party system and how to fix them by talking through three crucial points. The first being the history of the system, then the effect that the system has on political discourse in America. Then I will share with you the views and thoughts that each party has on their opposition. I have researched this topic, and my research shows that polarization is immensely prevalent in the state of political discourse today. If we want to change the state of debate, we have to change the two-party system. Today, I'll be discussing with you the issues and dangers of the two-party system and how to fix them by reviewing the history of the system and its dangers. Next, I will explore the effect that the two-party system has on political arguments and debates in America. Finally, I will share with you the two views that the parties have on each other. So let's begin today by defining the two-party system and how it came to be. So the two-party system, many of you may be aware of what it is. It's the Republicans and the Democrats that are featured as the two main parties in America. The two-party system has been around for quite some time. The United States became permanently burdened with a two-party system, one that didn't work any better in 1824 than it does in 2018. It's a quote from Robert Mills, 2019. The founders themselves feared the emergence of the two-party system, as written in a letter by John Adams in 1780, "There is nothing which I dread so much as a division of the republic into two great parties." An assistant political science professor at Arkansas State University said in an interview earlier this year, "I know we see lots of fighting on TV, but in reality, the parties are much more closely aligned than parties in other nations." Do you think that your opposing party has little in common than you? Why do you think that is? The solution here is fairly simple. Contribute to MSU's public affairs mission of community engagement and go out and find a common viewpoint between you and your opposing party. It just has to be one, just one. If you can find more than one, then great, but please, do find one. Now, let's explore the effect that the two-party system has on the state of political discourse in America. How many of you have ever had a political argument with somebody else? Yeah. Did it get heated? And were you angry? See, many of you are laughing, but I actually think that's a very large issue with arguments today. People are too angry. Now, don't confuse that with me saying, I don't want you to be passionate. Please, be passionate about your topics, but not to the point where you start yelling at your opponent. Debates, just like they are in speech and debate tournaments, should be civil and formal arguments, not shouting matches. With arguments today, they arise many divisions between parties, but nowadays, arguments can also cause divisions within them. Over 1/3 of Republicans that responded to this survey said, "Disloyalty will be punished." DeSantis, 2021. Disloyalty will be punished. The survey mentioned was in regard to the removal of Liz Cheney from public office and why the Republicans that voted her out did as such. 1/3 of Republicans, disloyalty will be punished. The Pew Research Center did an analysis of this particular instance and many others, and the data show from that study that there are 4 mini divisions in each of the two main parties for 8 total divisions. Dissatisfaction with two-party politics is at an all-time high, new Gallup polling shows, with 62% of Americans saying that Republicans and Democrats are doing such a poor job of representing their constituents that a third party is needed. Ingram, 2021. And I understand that the third-party introduction is a very popular solution to the two-party system. However, we have third parties, and they haven't fixed anything. So in my research and ideas, I would find it more beneficial to split the two main parties into their 4 respective divisions. With 6 more parties, not only Will that guarantee that third parties have more room and have more traction to secure their votes? But it will alleviate tension in political discourse, as there will be more sources for debate in today's modern political society. I will now begin to define and discuss the views that the two parties have on each other. And before I do, I'm going to be asking you all a series of questions. I don't want you to answer these questions, either verbally or semantically. I just want you to think about your answers. Are you right-leaning, conservative, Republican, whatnot? If you're liberal, I'll get to you in a second. But if you're right-leaning, what do you think about liberals? What do you think when you hear the word liberal? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Where do you stand when it comes to liberals? For my liberals and left-leaning individuals, what do you think about conservatives? What do you think when you hear the word conservative? Do you hate them? Do you like them? Somewhere in between? Data from the Pew Research Center in 2021 suggests that if you hold strong relations towards your party, the chances that you hold an unfavorable view towards your opposition are nearly inevitable, with numbers like 93% of Democrats and 96% of Republicans, respectively. And I think with all this division in today's society, I want to bring to you all a quote that I think many of you will recognize. "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Now, this quote was said by Abraham Lincoln in 1858, but what you may not recognize about this quote is that since 1858, the parties have become immensely more divided than they have since then. And if those numbers, like 93% of Democrats and 96% of Republicans, inch more and more towards 100%, and all of you out here start liking your opposition less and less, if at all, there may be a possibility that the two-party system in America may crumble entirely, along with the political society itself. However, not all hope is lost. Bob Inglis, former U.S. Congressman, said in his 2017 TED Talk what he believes people can do to solve the issue of bipartisanship. Tell them that America must stop the dividing and start the uniting. Tell them, play your part before it's too late. I want you all to do this in your lives. Be engaged in your community. Find your commonalities that we talked about. When you get into a heated political argument, step back. When you see two people getting heated, intervene and do something. Play your part. Stop making America so divided. I've now discussed with you all 3 points in my speech today, so let's go back and revisit them. In my speech today, I discussed with you the issues and dangers of the two-party system and how to fix them, by reviewing the history of the system and its dangers, then by exploring the effect that the two-party system has on political discourse in America, and then by sharing with you the views that the two parties have on each other. At the beginning of my speech today, I asked you, was I wrong in regards to my friend Adam being a racist, homophobic, and misogynistic bigot? The answer is no, he's not. But the reason to why he's not is a little different. The reason is, it wasn't due to the views specifically that he held, but more to the party that his views aligned with. Nobody stopped to see where he was coming from, that he didn't mean any hate, yet that was all he got in return. My first line of my speech told you that I grew up in a conservative household, and I do currently practice Catholicism. Did you judge me when I said that? What did you think of me as soon as I said those words? I expected there to be judgment. However, I want you to know that I am a centrist who holds moral views, one that I hold true regardless of political affiliation, and I want you all to do the same, to hold moral views, not just the views that align with your political party, but views that you truly believe in. So stop fighting each other, please. It's enough. Quit it. It's not me versus you. It's not you versus them. It's not them versus you. It's all of us versus the problem. So show acts of kindness to each other, please, and not hate. And then we can fix America. Tell you what, we can fix the world the correct way together.